Hey there, writers, and welcome back to another week of another book review. Privilege by Kate Bryan has very high reviews. It has a low rating of 4 on Amazon for book 1 and 3.9 again for book 1. So similar to the Private series, the first book is actually the lowest rated book. Generally, it gets a 4.5 on Amazon and a 4.1 on Goodreads. And my personal rating is only slightly lower at a 3.5 for the Privilege series. I actually really enjoy the Privilege series. This is a spinoff series to the Private series. It is also, obviously, by Kate Bryan. And since I am kind of rereading both series again, I have them both pretty fresh in mind, and I am going to go ahead and rate Privilege. So I will disclaim that I haven't finished the Privilege series. I'm through book 4. I guess technically I'm only rating books 1 through 4 in this series of 6 total. I said 5 in the Private video, but that was incorrect. There are a few issues that I have with it. One is that it has a self-repetitive storyline. There's sort of like the same issue that our main character, Ariana, who's going by Brianna Leigh, that her antagonist is sort of just like beating to death the same, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And it's just, after a while, you're kind of bored with the antagonist. There are some spoilers in this one, just so you know. Most importantly, there are spoilers for the Private series. So if you are planning on reading the Private series and you do not want spoilers for it, close this video, please, until after you've at least read, I think, the first 2 books. I think it like accumulates in the first book, but just in case I'm misremembering that because I did just start my reread, wait until you've at least read book 2 before you do this. So that said, in the Private series, we learn that Thomas has died at the hands of Ariana. Ariana then tries to kill Reed. Noelle stops her, and Ariana is taken off into custody. The Privilege series actually follows Ariana. It switches from the Easton kids over to Ariana, and she has been convicted of murder. She's in kind of a cushy mental asylum, and she, in the first book, breaks free of that mental asylum, and with the help of information she's gleaned from her roommate, who is there wrongfully because she was accused of murdering not her adoptive dad, but her best friend's dad. She was living with her best friend and her best friend's dad at the time. Her dad was killed, and the daughter blamed Caitlin for it. So now Caitlin and Ariana are roommates together. So she ends up escaping. She cons Brianna Leigh, and then there's a little kerfuffle at the end there. And I don't want to give too many spoilers in case you guys do want to read the book, so I'm going to try to keep my spoilers vague. But Ariana does end up pulling kind of an identity switch with Brianna Leigh and goes to this super prestigious boarding school, Atherton? Oh my God, I'm going to have to look it up. Okay, so it is Atherton Price Hall. That's the school. And she ends up, impersonating Brianna Leigh to be there. And so now she gets like her second chance at school and her second chance at redoing her life in this new identity. And it's very exciting. So eventually the antagonist comes along and is sort of like just demanding the same thing kind of over and over and over and over again. And the thing is, Ariana, do this for me. Ariana, get this amount of money for me. Ariana, get this for me. Ariana, do this for me. And it's just, it gets a little repetitive after a while. Like after a while, you're kind of wanting either the antagonist to just go away and for this to just be like a casual living story of a girl who's like navigating the world of this new boarding school and her new friends and trying to keep her killer identity a secret, which in my opinion would have been a great book in of itself because of the whole secret identity thing. But instead we get the constant nagging by the antagonist that gets a little old after a while. So after a while I was just kind of hoping that she like straight up just like stabbed the antagonist and was just like, oh no. In addition to the repetitive storyline, in case you couldn't tell, I just really didn't like the antagonist. The antagonist wasn't very, like, dangerous, or scary or anything like that. She was just annoying. Y'all, I just really wanted her to go away. I was like, let me have my story without you bugging my story. Please and thank you. So that lowered the rating for me a little bit because I feel like if you're going to have an antagonist, there needs to be a reason that they're there. It sort of felt like the antagonist was just kind of like thrown in as like an afterthought. Like, oh, dang, I don't have an antagonist in the book. There we go. Now we have an antagonist. We're fine. It's fine. So it would have been better without her. High rating though, because there is more great things about the book than there are bad things about the book. We have bomb ass MC, like worlds away from Reed and Shane. Ariana is intelligent. She is well spoken. She is poised. She is, did I mention intelligent? Because she is. She's just like, she does the spy thing from Fearless better than Gaia does. She's like got the sneaky manipulation thing down, and she like, you get to see her thought process happening. And as somebody who writes a manipulative character that I love so much, I loved watching it happen. I loved watching the manipulation happen and getting to see it from Ariana's point of view. That was awesome to me. In true Kate Bryan fashion, we get amazing descriptive narrative. We get amazing side characters. There is something that Kate Bryan does in this book that I absolutely adore, and it is the way that the social lives are set up in this book. There are actually two like warring, but not really, like slightly warring factions of popular girls. There's the group that Ariana becomes a part of, and then there's another group that Tahira is a part of. And Tahira is the other, like, subtle antagonist. She's just, like, kind of there to give excitement and girl drama throughout the, like, mundane days of school. And the two factions technically don't like each other. But the leader of Faction 1 and Tahira, who's the leader of Faction 2, are, like, buddy-buddy. And Tahira is an Emir's daughter to another person in the first group who is a princess. So they intersect a lot and have to like keep at least a cordial relationship with each other. So the two factions are forced to be cordial and forced to be civil. In addition, the popular boys are also split between the group. The most popular boy, who's dating the head of group 1, is really friendly with Tahira and friendly with the girls. And one of his friends is dating Tahira. So like there's just so much intersection between the like rivaling factions that it forces you to see what it's like to not just have that like mean girl cattiness just like slung back and forth constantly. And it's like, oh, we hate them and oh, we hate them. And it's like, nah, sometimes you gotta like hide that and you have to like brush it under the rug. And like, and I feel like that's something that a lot of elite-based novels kind of don't do. A lot of them just kind of play into the catty mean girl thing and don't realize that like in this world of elitism that you do often have to just like put a smile on your face and play nice and like get over it for a few minutes. And I loved seeing it happen. And yeah, I'm gonna say that was actually one of my favorite parts of the book was the interactions between all of the characters, because they weren't what you've come to expect from these kind of books, these boarding school, high school drama type books. And I was here for it. So I think that's pretty much all I had. Yeah, intersecting friend groups. I will say I have full formed and intelligent antagonists, which aside from the main antagonist, I was more meaning the popular girls. All of the characters are given full personalities. They're given their own backgrounds, their own stories, their own personalities, their own relationships with everybody. And I loved it. I loved it so much, guys. I would 10 of 10 recommend this book series to anybody. Yes, the main antagonist is really irritating and really grating, but if you can just look past her and just look at what the rest of the story is, it's a great story with amazing characters, and I highly recommend it. So feel free to leave comments below on what you thought about the Privilege series or the Private series. Although if you want to comment on Private, it has its own video, so maybe go check that out. Let me know what you thought of it, what you thought of my review. If you thought that I was too harsh, I gave it a pretty high rating. 3.5 is pretty high for me. So also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'm sorry. But you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter, both at Right or Wrong, just like the channel name. And I will see you guys next week. Later, writers.